The lights of the rose garden marriage lawn glowed like scattered stars across the night, and the soft music of celebration drifted in the air. But before the viewers could blink, the scene snapped into focus, not on the bride, not on the groom, but on an old man standing outside the gate with a cart full of scrap metal. His clothes were dusty, his beard untrimmed, his slippers torn. Yet his eyes watched everything with a sharpness that didn't match the rest of him. If only everyone knew the truth, that this scrap dealer was actually the owner of the entire marriage lawn, one of the richest men in the city, and tonight he wasn't here for business. He was here to test the man who wanted to marry his only daughter. For those watching, hold your breath till the end, because what this man did next turned an entire wedding night upside down. And if you enjoy emotional stories that unfold like real life, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Inside the marriage lawn, fairy lights hung like fallen constellations, guests laughed around the food stalls, and the groom, Ion, stood tall in a cream sherwani, his face glowing with the calm confidence of a man who worked hard for every rupee he ever earned. He wasn't rich, he wasn't powerful, but he was honest. And honesty, sometimes, is tested in the toughest ways. As the barat arrived and drums echoed across the lawn, the scrap dealer, known to everyone simply as Baba Rahman, pushed his squeaky cart toward the entrance. The guard blocked him instantly. "Baba, not today. This is a high-class wedding. Go somewhere else." But Baba Rahman didn't leave. He had a plan. "Let me in for just 10 minutes, he pleaded. "I need to collect old boxes from the kitchen." Someone called me. No one had called him. But he knew the manager wouldn't refuse a familiar face. The manager sighed and reluctantly allowed him to enter. Everyone saw him, but no one recognized him. Not even his daughter, who was inside the bridal room, adjusting her dupatta, rehearsing her smile, hoping that the man she loved would be accepted by her father. Ion was greeting guests when Baba Rahman approached him quietly, gently bumping the cart into the groom's shoes. The metal rattled like broken dreams. "Beta, can you help me push this cart to the other side? My back is hurting." Ion blinked, confused. Inside the wedding lawn. Now, he looked at the crowd, at the cameras recording everything, at the relatives judging every step. Baba lowered his gaze. "If not, it's okay. Old people don't matter here." Ion didn't think twice. "No, I'll help." Without worrying about his pristine clothes, he rolled up his sherwani sleeves and grasped the worn-out cart handles. Guests stared. A few whispered that he had embarrassed the family. But Ion didn't listen. He walked with the old man across the decorated pathway, past shining chandeliers and flower arches, ignoring the stares burning on him. When they reached the kitchen area, Baba looked at him again. "Can you help me load these cardboard sheets on top?" Ion nodded, climbed onto a stool, and began stacking the boxes. His sherwani got smudged with grease. His turban shifted slightly. His hands reddened from the rough edges. But he kept working until everything looked neat. Suddenly, Baba pretended to slip and fell sideways with a loud gasp. Without thinking, Ion jumped down, caught the old man by his arms, and held him up with genuine concern. "Are you okay, Baba? Wait, sit here, I'll bring water." He didn't care that people peeked into the kitchen and murmured. He didn't care that this wasn't his responsibility. Compassion came naturally to him. A few minutes later, as Ion returned with water, the old man quietly wiped his eyes. "Why did you help me so much?" he whispered. "You're the groom. You could have ignored me." Ion smiled softly. "A wedding doesn't change who I am. You needed help. That's enough." The old man stared at him as if memorizing every line of his face. And then, he disappeared. The wedding rituals began. The bride, Mahira, entered looking like a blooming rose. Ion's heart fluttered. She looked around for her father, worried, but everyone told her he was running a little late. The nikah was moments away when the lights suddenly flickered. A hush fell over the crowd. A spotlight turned toward the entrance. And there he was. Not as a scrap dealer. Not with a cart. But in a crisp black sherwani, his beard neatly trimmed, his shoes polished, walking toward the stage like a king returning to his palace. Whispers shot through the crowd like sparks. "Isn't that the owner? That's Mahira's father. Why was he dressed like a scrap man before?" Ion froze completely. Mahira gasped. "Abu." Baba Rahman stepped on the stage, holding a mic. His voice carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid emotions. Before this wedding, I wanted to know the true heart of the man who wants to marry my daughter. I didn't want to see how he treats me when I am rich. I wanted to see how he treats me when I am nothing. Every eye turned toward Ion. The groom lowered his gaze, unsure what was coming next. The father continued, "Tonight, I disguised myself as a scrap dealer. I wanted to see whether this man had humanity, or only pride." He paused, letting silence settle like dust after a storm. Then his voice broke with emotion. "And what I saw, touched me more than anything my money could ever buy." He turned to Ion, eyes shining. "You helped me without hesitation. You didn't care about your clothes, your respect, or the crowd. You only cared about an old man who needed help." Ion's throat tightened. Mahira's eyes filled with tears. Baba Rahman spread his arms wide. "Ion, you have already passed the biggest test of this marriage, kindness. And today, you proved that you deserve my daughter, not because you are rich, but because you are good." The crowd erupted in applause. Mahira rushed into her father's arms, crying with relief, and he held her close before placing her hand gently in Ion's. "This," he declared, "is a man worthy of my family." The nikah proceeded with newfound joy. The marriage lawn felt brighter, as if every fairy light had grown warmer. Guests no longer whispered about the groom's dirt-stained sleeves, they now called them the mark of his character. Later, when the night softened and the guests prepared to leave, Baba Rahman walked up to the couple with a gentle smile. "Money can build a marriage lawn," he said, glancing around at the glowing decorations. "But character builds a home." Mahira held Ion's arm tighter. And as the story reached its final breath, one message lingered, louder than the music, deeper than the night. Real wealth is not measured in cars, clothes, or bank accounts. Real wealth is measured in the goodness of a person's heart. And if this story touched your heart tonight, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because beautiful lessons like this deserve to be shared with the world.